Today I'm going to do a comparison of some compensators that I've got. I got a new one in this week made by Mayhen Syndicate. I'll tell you a little more about the Mayhen Syndicate comp when we get to the table. But at first I'm going to show you the comp. It's a very short comp. It doesn't stick out much. Basically it takes a Glock 19 and makes it a Glock 17 with the comp on it. I'll go in detail when we get to the table, but I'm going to shoot this one against my FN, my PPM comp, or PMM comp, I'm sorry. And then I'm going to shoot it against what I judge most comps by is my KKM comp. So I'm going to do some shots from the side so you can see the recoil, and I'll try to roll in some slow-mo shots where you can see the recoil. I also want you to watch muzzle dip. This is a factory spring in here, so hopefully it will run. I've got some 147 grains, and I've also brought some 115 grains. I want it to run with both of them, but we'll see. Sometimes comps can be a little finicky, but I'm going to roll in some clips here of it shooting. Enjoy. Alright, I'm going to show some clips of the Mayhem Syndicate. Watch the muzzle flip and also watch the muzzle dip. I did feel some difference over stock, but I'm going to put a few more rounds to it, see how it goes. Mayhem Syndicate. Felt pretty good. Now, let's try this against some of the other ones. On this go around, I'm going to be shooting my 509 tactical with the PMM comp on it. Let's see how this controls the 147 grains. Pretty good. Let's try it one more time. KKM comp, 147 grain. By a big margin, KKM comp. All right, I've noticed a significant amount of muzzle control. I've had a significant amount more muzzle control with the comp on the gun. I do like it. I like it a lot. I don't think it comps as well as the KKM, and I'm going to leave y'all up to whether it comps as well as the PMM comp on the 509. But I'm going to run a few more rounds of 147 grain through it just to see some other things. Now I'm going to run some 124 grains through it. Grain through the Mayhen Syndicate. I could notice the difference. The 147 grains were more of a push back in my hand. These felt more like a snap in my hand. I expected that, but it was kind of neat to sit back there and experience them back to back like that. So I'm going to run some 124s through a couple of my other guns and let y'all see it. Hopefully this slow motion will come through. All right, we'll try to shoot some accuracy groups with it. I think that is pretty good. Let's go down here and see. I don't think I'm going to get much better than that. That's one hole at about 6 yards. So it is definitely not messing with my accuracy at all. That is a really good group. So I don't know what to say about that. I'm pretty impressed with that that group. Been impressed with the compensator. I didn't know if it was going to work very well. I think it works, in my opinion, as well as the PMM comp does. It is a single top port design like the PMM port is, but it has 2 ports on the side as well. I'm not sure that the 2 ports on the side do that much, but as far as recoil control goes, but they do prevent gases, but I don't know if they help that much on recoil control. The PMM comp is really good on recoil control, and I'll have to give the Mayhem Syndicate the same rating as it. Neither one of them are as good as the KKM. I didn't expect them to be. KKM, in my opinion, is the gold standard when it comes to compensators for guns. They're just so big, and you know, you've got 2 ports on the top of a KKM with side ports. So of course a 2-port comp is normally going to compensate better than a single port comp. But overall tonight, accuracy was awesome. And I'll go ahead and break it down a little bit further for you on the tabletop review. Thank you for watching. Hey folks, back from the range. Figure I'd give you my thoughts on this little compensator and go over it in detail, because it's a little bit different from other compensators about how it affixes to the barrel. So let's pan down here, take a look at this thing, and I'll show you what makes it a little bit different from other compensators on the market. Alright, this is my Gen 5 Glock 19. Mayhen Syndicate makes them for Gen 3s, Gen 4s, and Gen 5s. If you look at the compensator, it's very short. Basically, it takes this Glock 19 out to the exact length of a Glock 17. So technically, this should fit in all of your Glock 17 holsters. It has a port on both sides, and then it has a port at the top. I'm not quite sure if the ports on the side help that much, but this port on top sure does. It worked out pretty good. The barrel is made, I believe, by S3F Solutions, and that's what I've heard from several different resources, that the barrel's produced by S3F Solutions. And if that's the case, it's a good barrel. I think y'all saw in the accuracy department, it shot literally one hole in for a 5-shot group. I can't ask for any better than that. But the barrel, is it on the level of a KKM barrel? Man, I don't think so, but it's still an excellent barrel, and I can only go off my experience with it. And with my experience, man, that thing is a shooter. So I'll have to give the barrel top notches. Now let's take this thing apart, and I'm going to show you what makes it so much different from other compensators on the market. So let's make sure it's empty. It is. And we're going to pull the trigger and take the slide off. We'll set that slide out of the way. Take our recoil spring out, and now this is where you're going to see some differences. I can take this off with just a push of a little pin, and it comes right off. Now, if you'll notice, I don't know how well you can see it on there, there's a little pin that protrudes from the compensator right there, right in front of my finger. That little pin is a hardened steel pin. It fits in this little groove right here. So what it does, technically, it's kind of like an AK muzzle brake. It fits on, and there's a little detent with a spring, and it locks in, and that's a hardened piece of steel. I watched some reviews on it where they really had a fit getting a piece of steel small enough and hard enough to last long term. But most compensators you have to put on with either Loctite or rock set, and then it has set screws that thread in and hold the compensator in place. Makes it a pain in the butt to take off to clean, because you can't get this barrel out without the compensator off, because the barrel comes out the back. So with this one, I can take the barrel apart, clean it, slap it back together. All I've got to do when I'm ready to put this compensator back on is thread it, and when it gets down to its lowest point, it will lock in place. Here it goes. I don't know if you could hear the click, but it locked right in place. So now this thing won't come off. It's on there. I don't have to worry about it being mistimed off to one side or the other. It's on there, and it's not coming off until I push that detent pin and unscrew it. It's a genius design. I don't know why anybody hadn't thought of it up until this point, but you know, it's genius. Now you can't take other barrels and make this work with other barrels. They sell this as a package, the barrel and the compensator as a package, and like I said, based on the accuracy results tonight, man, I can't complain about this barrel. If it is an S3F Solutions barrel like they're talking about, because this one comes unmarked. The first ones had markings on them. But if this is an S3F Solutions barrel, man, it's great. Now, the original ones, you'll see right in here, there's a roll pin that goes in on either side. It goes all the way across. That used to be what locked the muzzle device to the end of the barrel. They've done away with that now. That locks, I suppose, that locks the little spring and detent pin in the inside its groove there. But you don't have to drive a pin out, put Loctite on it. You don't have to do any of that now. You just got that one little pin in the back. What can I say about the comp? Let's put this thing back together real quick. It's hard to find stuff for Gen 5s right now because Gen 5s, you know, they've been out for a couple of years, but most people are still running Gen 4s, Gen 3s, especially if they're doing any modifications to them. But this is Glock Gen 5 19 MOS with front serrations on it. I was running a Leupold Delta Point on this, but I took it off. I do still like the suppressor height sights on it though. These are from Ameriglow. I actually like these better than the standard height sights because they pop out faster. But I imagine I'll be changing out some of my sights to just run these on because I just like them because they sit taller. They don't really shift my point of impact too much at close distances. But anyway, let's pan up here and I'm going to tell you what I think about the compensator. Alright, what I think about this compensator compared to the other two that I shot tonight. It holds its own with the PMM comp. There's not a lot of difference. One thing I forgot to do with the PMM comp is put the standard weight spring back in it. I still had the light spring in it. I wish I'd remembered to do that, but I can do that at a later date. How do I like it compared to the KKM comp that I tried it against? It's not going to be as good as the KKM comp. The KKM comp is a multi-port comp. It's got two ports on the top, 2 ports on the side. It's a lot more volume with that comp, and there's just no way this comp, being as small as it is, can compete with that one. You can look at the slow-mo and the standard speed footage. You can notice the amount of recoil that KKM comp dissipates. The rearward recoil and even coming back flat again. With the PMM and the Mayhem Syndicate, they both, in my opinion, feel very similar when you shoot them side by side. Got my dog down here at my feet looking at me. I think he wants a treat or something, but those two compensators are very, very close to each other. I do like the way the Mayhem Syndicate attaches to the gun and the lack of tools needed or Loctite needed to put it on and take it off. That's the whole reason I bought it. It's pretty expensive, I will say that, but I'm sure with the research and development they had, the money they had to put into it to get this thing up and going, it probably still a fairly reasonable price. I can't remember what I paid for it, but it just came in yesterday, I believe. So would I recommend it? Initially, you know, I've not got many rounds through it yet. I've only got about 100 rounds through it. Initially, if it stays like it is and nothing happens with the pin, the locking pin, that's the only thing I'm worried about. As long as nothing happens to the locking pin, yes, I'd recommend it. It's worked with the factory recoil spring. It ran 147 grains flawlessly. It ran 124 grains flawlessly. I didn't have any 115 to put through it, but from the 2 rounds or the 2 weight bullets that I put through it, ran fine. Strong ejection, didn't have any weak ejection, no malfunctions at all. You can't ask for more than that out of a gun with a comp on it. Because comps can sometimes be finicky. They put their research into this one to make sure that it'll run and be reliable. I'm going to have to test it in some holsters and see how it fits and works in some holsters. I make holsters too, so it's no big deal. If I can't get it to work in a Glock 17 holster, I'll just put it in my own holster. It doesn't matter to me. I'll just make one for it. But I don't know if holsters will be a problem for it. I wouldn't think they would be. This literally is the same length as a Glock 17. And I imagine if you can find a Glock 17 holster, this will pop right in there. The only thing that will be different is the dust cover is a little shorter. That's it. So would I recommend it? Yes, I'd recommend it. Any drawbacks? Not right now. The price, but I mean, it is what it is. You're going to have to pay for, especially new technology. You're going to have to pay for it. Now, over time, will the price come down? Yeah, it probably will. But I mean, it runs a good barrel. The S3F Solutions barrel. The thought and the time and the money it took to develop it. That's why it costs what it costs. They're hard to get your hands on. These things are, when I found out that I could get one, I jumped on it quick because I'd been looking at them for months and months. But even when they first came out with the roll pin through the bottom, I was looking at them just because I like the short length of it. You don't have a lot there on the end. If you can conceal a Glock 19, you can conceal this one. It's really not much different. But I'd been looking for them for months, couldn't find them. Finally, when I saw that they had them, I jumped on it. Still took about 7 weeks to get it, so I'm sure they had to send them off and do some things to them. But yeah, to me, it was worth the money. I like it. I'm going to run a lot of rounds through this thing to make sure that it holds up good. But so far, give it a thumbs up. If y'all like the video, y'all give it a thumbs up, share it around, and come back and see me next week.